Welcome to Spam Filter for Your Brain, bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour and our lives, and because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. What I'd like to talk to you about today is the danger of optimism and why so many of us try and stop ourselves from getting excited about things in the future. I think especially British people are very prone to having this idea that you shouldn't put all of your eggs in one basket. You don't want to get enthusiastic about anything just in case it all goes wrong. And I've always found that kind of amusing, the idea that you should keep yourself ever so slightly disappointed so that you can avoid feeling disappointed. It was a little bit self-sabotaging and miserable. This just sounds a little bit miserable to me. And what I wanted to pose this week is the idea that just because something in the past has been the best that you've ever had, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best you're ever going to get. And I think most of our brains are wired to think that we can get very nostalgic and reminiscing about the best thing. Maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a friendship, maybe it was a place that we visited, maybe it was a work or a finance situation. We can think that that's as good as stuff gets. And we're very prone to looking backwards. And it can be very difficult to take any kind of optimism and joy from some of those circumstances and apply it forward. And I'd like to pose the idea that that might be a really nice thing to do. It's something that I do a lot. I find it really useful when I remember to do it. And that's just the idea that maybe the best that you ever had wasn't the pinnacle of as good as it gets. Maybe the best that you ever had was the jumping off point, and whatever comes next starts from that as a baseline. And I love this idea that we are constantly learning and growing and building on the previous experiences. And there's no downsides to me thinking that. Like the whole don't put all your eggs in one basket idea sort of implies that like there's some bonus to saving some eggs elsewhere that are not within your reach. Like put all your eggs in one basket. If it doesn't work out, get a new basket. Like make a new basket, invent a new, borrow a basket. You be your own basket. It's my different idea. It's just this idea that we're kind of settling in order to protect ourselves. We don't want to go for the really big stuff in case we might get hurt. And that's human and natural. And it also isn't the only possibility. What could be possible for you if you were willing to experience whatever emotion came up, if it didn't go right, or if you don't get it? Like aiming high means you're more likely to get the thing that you're reaching for. And I know that most of us know this in theory, but I also think that we can take a step back from it and not necessarily apply it to ourselves when it involves our own hope, our own grief, and our own self-protection from things around us. Of course, we know that you're only going to get the shots that you take. And still, we somewhat limit ourselves because we're frightened of feeling an emotion. When you have a toolkit that enables you to be able to experience your emotions and let your brain know that experiencing an emotion is not going to be the death of you, then you become able to stretch your heart a bit wider and be able to look for more things that are the stuff that you want, the goals that you have, the dreams that you want to feast on, and be able to build things from where you left off rather than feeling like every time is trying to scrabble back to that place and that joy and that bliss that you once knew. I think that this is a practice of expanding yourself to have a capacity to receive. And that involves learning how to trust yourself and learning how to trust that life gives you the stuff that you need at the right time for your learning and your brain capacity, and that things are working out in your favor. And again, you might not feel like that sometimes, but I have personally found that there is no downsides to me believing that everything's working out in my favor. What that does is allow me to lean back and take enormous risks that take me to places that I couldn't even have dreamed of if I was trying to strategically step from safe place to safe place. What I would have done is be tapping myself down a hill and shrinking with each step because I was only willing to reach for the things that I knew, the things that I thought were possible, and the things that were within my imagination. When I can trust and go, okay, let's do this. I have known this way of being, this amount of money, this type of relationship, this type of love, this type of friendship, this kind of interaction, work setup, whatever it is for you. I've known that in the past. And damn it, like, let's see what else we can create. A world opens up to me that I hadn't even dreamed of yet. And that is where, for me, the real magic dust of life lies, that this story is far wilder than I ever could have imagined. So if you'd like some of the tools to help you manage the bits where your brain's like, oh no, we don't want to be feeling emotions. Absolutely not. Hell no. That's what we do over at Self Care School. I've got some great tools over there to help you feel like you can process your emotions and not feel stuck in the fear of feeling them and to be able to deal with them when they come up. And I hope this idea of taking that leap forward with a sense of optimism and trust in yourself rather than shrinking yourself in a state of nostalgia for what has been is a useful map for the decisions that are coming up in your life. And I'll speak to you next week. If you've been enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast, you will love Self Care School. Self Care School is longer versions of this, more in depth and more personalised. We have a whole hub of courses from body image to boundaries, perfectionism, time management, and a whole range of other topics. You name it, there's probably a course on it. But most importantly, we also have a weekly group coaching call where you get to apply this stuff to your everyday life and get support to try and untangle your own story from some of the emotions that you might not be enjoying in your life. If you would like to learn how to apply this work to your specific situation and to be building a life of your dreams, I would love to see you inside. Do pop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.